And yes, let's get started. So, what will be the points of discussion? We will discussing the list of sponsors who are acceptable and who are not. What one should refrain from getting sponsorship for Australia recruitment, the income documents and the latest updates, like what is accepted, what is not accepted, how recent the documents should be, or how what kind of registrations are we looking for if there is any business, or what kind of documentation is needed at the salary stage. Common challenges and recommendations from KC will be discussed later. And along with this, what all financial documents are required usually when it comes to savings, when it comes to fixed deposits or term deposits, and what are the latest updates, what is the general trend of the visas. We will be all discussing this. We'll be sharing our general observations and what is the current visa situation at the moment, because I am aware that many of you must have received some positive or some negative feedbacks from the market, and what can be the way forward. At the end, after the presentation is over, I will try to cater all the questions in the Q&A section. Thus, I request everyone to drop all your queries. How small or how major the queries does not matter. I will try to cater all those queries at the end of the slides. Okay. So the list of sponsors, who can sponsor the student. Here you can see that I have highlighted uncle and aunt in red, rest all are in black. It's just that many of the universities following the visa success ratio of their respective universities has come up with their own mechanism, and are asking for sponsorship from 3 to 4 sponsors, maximum of 3. In the rare case, they are accepting 4 sponsors. Parents, siblings, and grandparents should be the primary sponsors. Ideally, the major sponsorship should come from parents only. And in case the parents are not meeting the income criteria threshold of 12 to 14 lakhs, sometimes 15 lakhs as well, then I recommend going for siblings or grandparents. And in worst case scenario, if those sponsors are not available, then only I would request the sponsorship from uncle or aunt. However, in this case, in this scenario as well, I would not recommend aunt, but from paternal uncle or maternal uncle, we can definitely take the sponsorship for up to a quantum of 25 to 30%. If the quantum is below this 25 to 30%, that would be great in terms of visa point of view, because High Commission as well as the university expects that the primary and the major sponsorship should be from parents only. Income documents. Whoever is sponsoring the student must showcase their ITRs, which should be filed in the consecutive years with the income evidences. So what I mean here is that, so for example, if the sponsorship from a single parent, then the income is of 12 to 15 lakhs or higher, depending upon the university. This is the bare minimum threshold. Some universities might ask for 15, some may ask for 12. That depends upon the universities. So universities do not give these kind of guidelines in writing, but do share this kind of information, like I am sharing in the form of webinars or via the verbal communication which we do on them on a daily basis. The combined income of parents should be 12 to 15 lakhs or higher, if depending upon the university, of course. And if mother is a homemaker and only father is sponsoring the student, then add additional sponsors such as maternal uncle or paternal uncle or grandparents or siblings. Like I said, the primary sponsorship should be from parents. I'm not saying that don't get sponsorship from uncle, but if the majority of the sponsorship is being catered by the parent, that would be great from the visa point of view. So, and if any one of the parents is deceased, and we are now dealing with like we are showcasing the death certificate of the one of the parents, then definitely add additional sponsors such as uncle, grandparent, or sibling. But the main crux of this slide is that the ITR should be consecutively filed with income evidences. So what I mean by consecutive years is that the ITR only one ITR should be filed in one financial year. So right now we are on the verge of assessment year 26-27. So in case if the student is going for a Feb 27 intake or a July 27 July 26 intake, but on the later stage, then definitely ask the parent or the sponsor to add 20% or 30% more than that of the previous year and file the ITRs accordingly. It is not possible in case of salary income, but it is definitely possible in the business if the sponsor is having a business income. But most probably important is that the ITRs should not have a very huge gap. That, for example, in case the ITR of AY assessment year 25 and 26 was only of 4 lakhs, and now you are filing the ITR of 9 lakhs. So there is a huge gap. So such question might arise that why so much of difference. If there is any kind of capital gain or something which can be documented and can be proven, that is okay. But in case if that is questionable, I avoid and refrain the sponsor from filing such kind of inflated ITRs. Non-acceptable ITRs. So this is also another important slide. ITRs filed in the same year without appropriate income evidence. Just to give you an example, if the sponsor is salaried, he is having Form 16 for both the years, or from the start of his employment, but he is not filing the ITRs because he does not have to share this kind of thing. But now his or her son or daughter wants to go to Australia, so and he is filing now the ITRs in the same year. So this is accepted depending upon the approval of the university. We have catered such cases in the past and have approved GS approval from the university and from the High Commission as well. And the student has gotten the immigrant of their own as well. So in case there is a proper evidence that why the ITR is being filed in the same year and not consecutively, and if you are able to prove with a proper source, then yes, definitely such kind of things are accepted. But if such kind of evidences are not available with the sponsors, then the ITR should be consecutively filed only. Annual income of parents below 12 lakhs, so they are filing ITRs in the same year, so that is definitely not accepted. ITRs with income from dairy, stitching, tuition, boutique, beauty parlor, labor, or embroidery income must be avoided, because there is a very high chance that there are no documentation or very minimum documentation available for such kind of business. So ITRs with dairy, stitching, tuition, boutique, beauty parlor, labor, embroidery incomes. So this must be avoided, because in this kind of occupations, the source of the income is very limited, and so the business registrations are in the form of MSMEs or FSSAI certificates, which are usually given not give the GS approval by the university. And in case if there are, I'm not saying that don't provide such document, but if you are providing such income evidences, I request you to please also provide the account statements as well. For example, if there is any kind of tuition income, so then the sponsors, the teacher registration can be taken into consideration, the account statement in which they are getting the tuition income, and likewise we can discuss this on a case by case basis as well. So my point here is that if such kind of occupations are being provided, then provide appropriate documentation as well, so that we can try to convince the university that this is not a typical case, but it is an extraordinary, and we have documentation to prove that this business is ongoing and running since a long time, and it is not recently registered. So, entire family relying on agriculture income without adequate income evidences. So this is also a red flag. Entire family is running on agriculture income without adequate income evidences, because if they are not having proper crop sale bills in the form of J forms, or they are not having the statements in which the crop sale bill is getting credited, and they are not having proper agriculture land documents. So this is again a red flag, and they are and the agriculture income is not mentioned in the ITR form which gets downloaded from the ITR portal. So in case there is an agriculture income, I highly recommend to showcase those ITR pages which gets directly downloaded from the ITR portal, which showcases that the agriculture income is being mentioned in the agriculture like the ITR form, and not just by the CA who has filed the ITR for the namesake. So another point, that only grandparents, uncles, siblings showing their ITR instead of parents. In case the parents are deceased, we do understand, and the universities also understand, because we are showing the death certificates or the appropriate documentation. Likewise, in every other particular case. But in case their parents are there but not having ITRs, and only grandparents, uncle, and siblings are showing their 100% sponsorship, which this is another red flag. So I request everyone to refrain from such practices in order to get a proper GS approval and a proper EB grant from the High Commission. So the next we are going to cater for the income sources or the proofs that for Indian nationals, obviously, and the acceptable business proof. So in case the sponsor is having his or her own registered business, what can be shown? A GST registration certificate is the gold standard. We can definitely take this into consideration. But many a times we are experiencing that the sponsor had their GST registered, and now their GST registration is expired and they have not renewed. So we do understand this such kind of situation can occur in India, but it is advisable that the GST must be valid at the time of verification by the university and at the time of presenting the visa application to the High Commission. So a valid GST registration certificate must be there in order to suffice that the income is ongoing, business income is ongoing, and it is not that just for the namesake. It should be preferably an old business registration and not too recent. Valid registration document other than the GST can be the shop act from the local municipal corporation or the local state government can also be taken into consideration. This should be old enough to give genuineness to the case. And I humbly request everyone to avoid MSME, Udyog Aadhar or labor licenses which are very recent. And in case if you are showing this kind of documentation, be ready with an alternate option with please apply for 2 to 3 universities, because there are high chances that some of the universities might reject these kind of business registrations. And in case if this is the only documentation is available with the sponsor, then request you to also share the current account statement of such kind of businesses. If there is salary income, then a salary account statement for the past 6 to 12 months. Form 16 for the past 2 to 3 years. Form 16, if it is being provided by the Traces, TRACES, Traces organization, that would be great. And salary slips and the employment proof or ID cards, like the one which will be one by me, if the sponsor is having his or her own ID card, which they are wearing in the offices, that can be also taken into consideration case by case basis. So yes, these kind of documents are being considered. In case if the sponsor is not living in India, they and are having, for example, if one sponsor is living in Gulf countries where they are doing a salary, they are having their own salary, and so they can definitely, and I am aware that, and the universities also are aware that in Gulf countries, many of the Gulf countries are tax free. So you can just showcase their appointment letter, their visa copy, and the salary certificate and the account statement in which the salary is being credited. So we can average out the income from that particular document and showcase it to the university. This kind of arrangement is also accepted. So Like updated income requirements of Australian universities. Now, this is a very tricky part, and this depends on a case by case basis. Here, an average income is being mentioned. This is based on our experiences for the past 6 to 8 months. So, if the student is going for a Charles Darwin University, the minimum requirement is 18 lakh. Yes, it is that high. Some of the universities are still in the range of 10 to 12 lakhs. For example, Flinders or for a University of Technology, Sydney. Some universities are having their own strict income criteria like Griffith or Swinburne, like 15 lakh each. Murdoch universities are considering income from 14 lakhs as well. But RMIT University is still accepting some cases for 12 lakh rupees. So here is an average out, and here you may find that two universities are still accepting on 12 lakh income, like Flinders University and Deakin University. But these are like for Flinders University, if the student is from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, and Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So yes, they are accepting as low as 10 lakh income. And in Deakin University, their income criteria is of 15 lakh. But if the student is being sponsored by only one parent, and he or she is having only 10 lakh income criteria, which is a salary or business, then yes, they are definitely considering this such kind of income on from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu as well. So we can definitely discuss this on a case by case basis. But every other university have now moved on from 10 to 12 lakh of income criteria, and if you average out, you can say that the universities are now expecting an income of 12 to 14 lakhs or more than that sometimes. Common challenges and recommendations. While we like get the after the visa is like the conditional offer letter is being issued by the university, we get the like funds related documents of the students. We have now waived off the ITR requirement for some of the parts of India, and we are now directly processing the application. So when we after receiving the conditional offer letters, so we are now getting ITRs which are filed on the very same day. So this kind of practice we should avoid. We should also avoid the low income of the sponsors. So I request everyone, when it will be great for both of us, like for the for you as well and for us as well, to maintain the conversion ratio. Such kind of things can be taken into consideration at the time of initial counseling only, for if the student is interested in Australia and wants to go to Australia only. So ITR files on the same date. So there must be a very genuine and very valid reason why this is being done, that the ITRs are not being consecutively filed, and why the income criteria of the sponsor is low. So and unavailability of the income sources. So if they are having business and there is no registration, we require a valid reason. And in case there is no valid or genuine reason, universities may or may not consider this such kind of profile. There are high chances that the university might not consider in availability of income sources. Just on the basis of ITRs, universities are not clearing the GS nowadays because of the negative visa trend. Unavailability of mother's income. If father's income is not meeting the threshold, this is my personal observation, that whenever I looked into it, and I think that why the visa has been refused, and I encounter that there is no availability of mother's income. I do understand that we live in India, and most of the females are housewives. Not all, but most of them are, yes. So there is no income being showcased by the mother, and other sponsor is being uncle or paternal uncle or maternal uncle or uncle, auntie who is being sponsoring just for the namesake. So these kind of things are being taken into consideration negatively by the universities while giving their GS outcomes. So what we recommend is that please allow the ITR, please follow the ITR guidelines closely and strictly. Like If you are having a business income, you can definitely showcase a 20-30% rise in your income. And in case your ITRs are above the threshold, AUD 87856 for you can say 60 or 62 lakhs, then there is highly unlikely that you may have to showcase the funds as well for such kind of students. ITRs to be checked while counseling the students before submitting their application to Australian universities, because in case if you are showcasing that ITRs are not being filed or ITR guideline is not being followed, so the student might fetch a negative GS outcome, which might have a negative mental impact on the student, as well as your reputation and our reputation also gets tarnished with such kind of documentation. Please be mindful of the income requirements or expectation of Australian universities, and for students availing unsecured loans, income criteria of parents are closely monitored by the DHA and the university, and thus we recommend the combined income of 15 lakh for such cases in case the student is going for an unsecured loan. In case there is a secure income, we may follow the university guideline. But in case of an unsecured loan, please consult us first whether this university is accepting the unsecured loan or not. And in case they are accepting the unsecured loan or non-collateral loan, I personally recommend 15 lakh of parental income. So this was the income and ITR part. Now let's come to the financial documents part. What are the acceptable funds? So education loan is definitely accepted. Savings 6 month to 12-month old. Some of the universities like Central Queensland University or Western Sydney University are on a case-by-case basis are requiring 12-month old funding, or they ask for 6-month old funds, but they may ask for the 12 months old statement. So we have written here 6 months to 12 months old. Fixed deposits or term deposits again 6 months to 12 months old. And public provident fund. Some universities may ask for liquidation of PPF as well. EPF, Employee Provident Fund or Government Provident Fund or Contributory Provident Fund must be liquidated into the account, savings account of that particular sponsor. But some of the universities are now asking for PPF withdrawal as well. Some are accepting like with the withdrawal limit letter. This can be discussed on a case-by-case basis, because this is depending upon university to university as well. So these kind of funds are being accepted. Education loan. Let's have discuss this one by one in detail. So education loan. Education loan should be preferably availed from a nationalized or private sector banking institution like SBI, State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, UCO Bank, Allahabad Bank, etc. etc. The loan letter should not be in principal loan letter and must be a fully sanctioned loan letter. In case the loan is from Credila, it should be a secured loan, preferably a secured loan. I'm not saying that unsecured Credila will not be accepted, but it should be a preferred. Our preference is for a secured loan only, and that too against collateral property should belong to the parents or grandparents only. Avoid loan from NBFCs such as Avance. I recommend not to showcase this kind of, because many universities are not accepting Avance loans directly, and in case it is being accepted, there are high chances that I'm not saying that the visa might get refused, but there are chances that this can be taken into a negative factor. Students must not rely only on education loan, but showcase at least 10 to 12 lakhs or 10 to 15 lakhs of their own savings or FDs. Sponsors availing unsecured loans should have good incomes, like we discussed in the previous slides as well, and the collateral property should belong to grandparents or parents only. In case it is being uncle or aunt, please discuss this first before availing the loan, because many universities do not accept such kind of arrangement. Savings account statement and fixed deposits or FDs or term deposits or TDs. These should be preferably 6 to 12 months old. Some universities are writing on their offer letter that they are accepting 3-month old fund. Then definitely 3-month old funding can be taken into consideration. But that the number of universities are accepting is very small. So preferably a 6-month to 12-month old funding in case. The student can apply for 2 to 3 universities simultaneously. Support any major transaction usually above 1 lakh with an acceptable evidence. So in case in an savings account statement, if there is a transaction of 1 lakh or more which is being credited and not getting debited from that particular account, then we recommend to showcase this kind of uh, transaction with proper evidence. It is irrespective that this 1 lakh is being an extra fund or an additional fund. If it is getting credited and it is in the account, you will have to showcase source of that particular fund. So in case there are no sources, you can just withdraw this money from that particular account and transfer it into another bank account which is not being showcased to the university and the higher commission. So the balance in savings should be at least 10 to 15 lakh, or you can say 10 to 12 lakh for loan plus saving cases. Please provide balance confirmation letter for FDs in case the FD is very old and for the confirmation of the balance and it is still running, you can showcase. And in case if there is lien against any FD, please clear those liens because lien against any FD is not accepted in Australian universities. And we request everyone to please provide email IDs for verification. For example, if an FD is being showcased from Axis Bank, we recommend to give the email ID of that particular branch manager or the regional office or the zonal office of that particular FD from which it belongs to, so that we can get that verified. Nowadays, universities are also sending emails with copy to student for the verification purposes. So you can say that KC is also verifying and university is also verifying. So in case the High Commission verifies, there will be no hiccups at the later stage. Loans from Credila. Please prefer a secured loan for over an unsecured loan, because I am aware that getting an unsecured loan from Credila might not be that challenging if compared to a secured loan, but we still prefer a secured loan in terms of if the loan is being taken from Credila or availed from Credila. Loan disbursement is mandatory. Amount of disbursement may vary from one university to another. For example, if we are going for University of Newcastle, where it is where they expect that if the loan is from Credila, then 100% disbursement is mandatory for them. But in case if the student is going for Macquarie University, they are stating that we have been prohibited by from their management that full disbursement is not at all required. So in case in order to avoid such situations in the future, recommend to discuss this first with KC Australia team and what type of disbursement is required, because it depends on the university as well. Please do not rely entirely on education loans. I request everyone to showcase at least savings which are strongly recommended by us, and savings worth of 10 to 15 lakh over and above education loan will fetch a positive visa outcome. I'm not saying that students entirely relying on education loan will be getting a negative visa outcome, but the chances of getting positive visa outcome will be on a higher side if they are showcasing 10 to 15 lakh over and above the education loan, and refrain large amount of education loan over 45 or 50 lakhs this depends upon the annual income as well, because High Commission and the universities are now taking the loan repayment capability of the sponsors as well while giving their GS outcome or while giving the visa outcome as well. So loan for the very large amounts can be altered in a altered in such a way that we may get positive outcome from both universities and DH. These are some general observations that high possibility of a visa refusal for student availing education loan over and above 50 lakh rupees and is entirely relying on loan as well. That can be a negative factor. Some of the universities have started asking for full disbursement of education loan. Please prefer secured loans only. And this condition is not being only for loans from NBFCs like Credila, but in case there is an education loan, universities are asking for full disbursement in case they are having an unsecured loan from nationalized bank as well. Please check ITRs of sponsors at the initial counseling stage, because it becomes very challenging and it becomes very difficult for us to counsel the student at the later stage once the offer letter is issued and the student has made up his mind that he wants to particularly go to that particular university where his or her ITR criteria is not getting matched as per the university's requirement. Please acquaint yourself with financial requirements or the expectation of universities and convey them to the sponsors at the initial counseling stage as well. You can get in touch with KC team for this. What is the income criteria for this university, whether they do accept secured loan or unsecured loan, and what type of funding arrangement are they going to accept and what not, etc. Please punch the application to those universities where students' financial requirements are being fully met. Like I said, Charles Darwin University have a very high income criteria. So if the student is having only 12 lakh ITR, he may or may, there are high chances that he may not get likely an unconditional offer letter from this university. So why waste of time and energy and resources while applying for Charles Darwin University? If you have that kind of document, then yes, please, you are welcome to apply. But in case your income is not getting matched, we can definitely apply for some other universities. And this is my personal opinion that in case if you are applying to Australia, please always apply for 3 to 4 universities in advance, because in case any universities reject the GS on the basis of GS criteria, we do not have to start from the scratch, and we do have the conditional or unconditional loan letter side by side or simultaneously. Please recommend the students to be flexible with their choices of universities as per the financial eligibility matters as much as the academic eligibility in Australia. Consult KC team in advance to choose right universities for the student suiting their financial standing, their loan, if they are having only Credila loan, because many universities are not accepting loan from any NBFCs, whether it is Avance or Credila, and some universities are accepting 3-month-old fund while some are 6-month requirement. So you can consult KC team in advance before applying or after application to the universities. And the most important factor which can be you all need to note is that please help KC team to launch the visas within 1 week after the COEs are issued, because if there is a delay in launching the visa after the COE has been issued, there are serious questioning being happening from the universities as well to KC Overseas, and we are being asked for every particular student why the visa is being lodged with delay, and we do not have proper answer, because many a times the students updated account statements are being pending from student side or from partners end, and there are certain forms required like the 956A, the travel history form, the details of family member forms are or the OSHC certificate for that matter is being pending even after the COE has been issued. So please help KC team to launch the visas within 1 week after the COE has been issued. Current visa situation, visa refusal ratios remain high in Jan, Feb and March months of 2026, particularly from the high risk areas like the Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, AP, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Gujarat, Sri Ganganagar, Hanumangarh, Rudrapur, Lakhimpur Kheri of Uttar Pradesh. So yes, but even if the visa refusal ratio was high, but we do have gotten some visa approvals as well for students coming from this area. But the thing is that cases visa success ratio and the market visa success ratio has at least 20 to 30% of gap. So for example, if the market visa ratio is 50%, are definitely 75 and 80% and above. The primary reasons based on our cases experiences are that the university India assessment level and the university's assessment level were suddenly changed, and there was a drop in the assessment level of India from assessment level 2 to assessment level 3. So for a brief period of time, India was in AL2, but now it is again being shifted to AL3. The credit goes to all the dubious agents who are launching the visas without funds and without proper documentation. So because of this, the India is again now being shifted to AL3. Then proven recorded history of attrition of universities and region of such states. For example, Macquarie Universities has been encountered with high attrition ratio from northern part of India. So they are being not going very bullish on these particular states, but some, and they are catering to those queries. Like if the student is very genuine and having extraordinary profile, they are definitely welcoming, but not all students with a average or below average income and academic profile are being welcomed. And DHI is expecting students and sponsors to demonstrate robust financial capacity rather than financially that merely meet the minimum requirement. So, for example, if the show fund requirement at the time of lodging the visa is 32 lakh rupees, and if you are showcasing only 32 lakh rupees, it clearly shows that the student is going to contribute to the attrition ratio of that particular university, and might change the provider instead. So high and these are taking consideration this factor as well. And a large number of students choosing generic bachelor of IT or master of IT program or bachelor of business or doing a fresher MBA program. So this is also another pattern which the universities and the High Commission are being focused. So in case if your student is going for a fresher MBA program, we can definitely offer them master of business analytics or some kind of master of marketing or master of finance, such kind of programs. Some kind of niche programs can be taken given to the students instead of giving generic programs like master of business or master of business administration. Of if the student is from IT background, we can definitely give master of AI, master of machine learning, and cyber security and networking, some kind of niche courses for such kind of IT related students. What can be the way forward? International education sector, in despite of this visa success, such kind of visa success trend, has generated a 53.6 billion in export income in the year 24-25 financial year. Australian economy is dependent on this sector, and thus the eventual recovery is highly possible in this kind of sector. There has been some kind of setbacks, but the market is improving now. We are also getting the application ratio has also been there is a sudden hike in the application ratio in KC overseas as well. So we are getting a lot of potential queries, and we are very positive and optimistic that Feb 2027 will be the biggest in Australia has ever seen. Australia has announced a national planning level NPL of 2,95,000 new international student commencement for the 2026 calendar, likely to be continued in the future, and the outlook remains positive. I am guessing that there will be no dip in the next calendar year, or there can be a 10 to 20% hike in this particular number. And in case the number goes up, the visa success ratio will also be definitely be going up. This is my personal opinion, and your opinion can may vary for this particular fact. Australia is definitely trying to diversify and reduce its reliance entirely on China. And the next biggest source country is India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. And so, in case they are going bearish on China, definitely they will be going bullish on India. So, so that was my part. And in case if you are having any query, I recommend you must take a screenshot of this. I am going to provide this PPT who is going to who is going to ask me for this. And in case if you are having any query or having any potential lead, I recommend you showcase the query in such kind of format where you do not have to just give us the academics, but in case if you are giving the academics uh, and IELTS, I recommend you all as well that you all showcase the some kind of or give us the hint of the financial profile of the sponsors, so that we can give those particular options where the GS approval is possible and eventually the student can go till visa. In case the student, like for example, here in this slide, it can be noted that the partner has not only given the academic profile and he is not only interested in this particular course, but has as well given the IELTS and looking for which particular city he is going around, he is preferred going to, and he has also given the financial profile of the sponsors, like the what the mother is doing, what father is doing, what grandmother is having income from, and what is the like FD or savings if they are having, and what is the when they were made. So such kind of informed query we will be answering in a more informed way and with more particular details. So instead of just posting the query in the inquiry section of Course Finder, in case if you are in case the query is being put with such kind of details, it will be very beneficial for all of us to give those particular course options where the GS outcome can be positive. Yes, that's it from my end. You can just scan this QR code and request me for the slides. And in case if you are having any kind of query, you just drop in the Q&A section. In the next 5 minutes, I will be catering to those queries. Thank you.
Important when it comes to converting the students who especially look for affordable options. Yeah, I'm Ritik Agrawal. I'm the Senior Manager Operations here at KC Overseas. I basically look after the entire operations of the North and the West region and the learning and development part. So this presentation, like I already mentioned, Australia is usually considered as a 8 are the group of should one choose Australia as the globally recognized degrees and top ranked institutions. Australia is home to 9 universities, which are in top 100 universities of the world, uh, out of which 8 are the group of 8 institutions as we know them, and the ninth is UTS, which is University of Technology, Sydney. Apart from this, Australia has multicultural and safe environment. Australia is home to some of the most livable cities in the world, like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, or even if you're looking at regional cities like Adelaide and Perth, these also have very good. These cities are also quite livable and fall in the top 20 most livable cities in the world. Post-study work visa opportunities of up to 5 years, one of the highest offered compared to other global destinations like US, UK, Canada. The purpose of today's webinar is to identify affordable study options in Australia and share some insights on fees, scholarship, and living expenses. So here we go. First of all, we should understand what is affordable in Australia context. Affordable to some maybe a tuition fee which ranges between 50 to 20,000, but if you want a university, not a private college, then affordable will be somewhere between 25 to $35,000. Okay, not 20,000 or not $18,000. So in terms of universities, when we talk about it is the tuition fee which ranges between 25 to $35,000 a year can be considered as affordable. Living cost, which starting from $22,000 yearly, even though the DHA expect the student to show approximately $30,000. To be exact, it is 29710, but the actual cost of living might be less. So when we consider affordable cost of living, we are somewhere looking at $22,000 yearly. Economical as compared to USA, UK, and Canada. Definitely, that is one of the factors when it comes to choosing an affordable option. Balance between the cost and quality, like I already mentioned, depending on the student's preference. Without any compromise on student's preference, we do have Australia does have some of the other option to offer. Okay. Key factors to consider when it comes to choosing the right university for a student. Students usually have 4 or 5 factors that they choose the best university according which matches their requirement. Okay, so the first can be the location of the university, second can be the ranking, third can be the course which the student is looking for, fourth can be scholarship offered by the university, and fifth can be the prospects of PR. So these are 4 to 5 major factors which student consider when choosing the right university. And to look for a right university, the most important factor can be the budget. So these are the factors that one should consider, which includes annual tuition fees. Okay, like we already saw, an affordable tuition fee would range between 25 to $35,000. This is excluding scholarship. Okay, scholarship offered by the university, if you see, Australian universities are very generous when it comes to providing scholarship. Be it flat 15%, 20%, 25%, a flat amount of $10,000, $15,000. Every bracket of university, every bracket of scholarship is offered to international students. So university you are going to, even the group of eights, have good amount of scholarship that they offer to international students. So a tuition fee which ranges around $30,000 plus a scholarship of, let us say, 20% as well, brings down the cost of studies in Australia by a significant amount. Cost of living, the usual things to consider while cost of calculating the cost of living are grocery and accommodation. Other maybe as per the student's lifestyle, what student spends on their lifestyle, whether it is clothes, travel, or whatever it is. But to consider a general cost of living, one should definitely consider grocery and accommodation as a fixed cost. Location also matters when it comes to deciding to choose affordable university, because major city like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane have a higher cost of living as compared to regional areas. We will see all the cities in Australia which are affordable and the universities as well which will be in the following slides. Part-time work rights. So it is 48 hours fortnight with a minimum wage rate of 24.94 AUD per hour. So student can a student can support their living expenses by a significant amount by working part-time. So The part-time work rights is also significant high when you compare it with other countries, and the minimum wage rate is also pretty high, almost $25 per hour. So key factors to consider again, to sum it up, is the annual tuition fee. We can expect a tuition fee, affordable tuition fee in the range of $30,000. Scholarship offered, what scholarship? 10%, 15%, 20%, or a flat amount. Cost of living, grocery and accommodation should be the fixed amount that should be considered. Location, whether it is major city like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, or a regional area like Newcastle, Adelaide, Perth, these Darwin, Hobart, all these will be the regional areas. Part-time work rights, which are 48 hours fortnight, and the minimum wage rate are 24.94 Australian dollar per hour. This is the cost of living calculator. This is as per the Study Australia's website. It is a government organization. If you go through this website, depending on your lifestyle, what options you choose, you can calculate a tentative cost of living that you may inquire when you study in Australia. Let us say if you choose Australia as a preferred as a city that you would like to live in, considering the accommodation cost of $400 per week, transportation you spend $91 on transportation, food which is outside, I'm assuming to spend almost zero, personal expenses of $15 per week, clothing and entertainment per week. Assuming this kind of lifestyle for a student, for an international student, the cost of living in a city like Adelaide would be around $500. The same lifestyle, the same lifestyle in other cities like Melbourne would cost around $525. In Sydney, it will cost around $510. In Perth, it will cost the same as Sydney. Brisbane will cost almost the same. Canberra will cost around $520. Hobart will cost around $510 again, and Darwin will cost around $499. You can visit this link to show it to your students as well, to calculate the tentative living expenses depending on their lifestyle. So these are the 8 cities that you can choose from: Adelaide, Brisbane, Canberra, Darwin, Hobart, Melbourne, Perth, and Sydney. Cost of living in smaller cities. Yeah, please excuse my voice. Cost of living in smaller cities. So studying in smaller student cities, which are also called as regional areas, offer numerous financial benefits as well. Apart from the longer post-study work visa, there are other financial benefits as well. Like the cost for rent or the accommodation and transport is significantly lower as compared to major cities. Though the grocery price are consistent across Australia, but when you look for a local market instead of a national level chain, so the price may differ when you compare it with the local market or with the global chain. These are some of the top affordable cities for international students. Adelaide, which is the capital of South Australia. Gold Coast, which is a suburb near Brisbane, which is a city near Brisbane, again based in the state of Queensland. Canberra, which is in ACT. Perth, capital of Western Australia. Darwin, which is the capital of Northern Territory, and Newcastle, which is approximately 1.5 hours from Sydney by road, again a regional area. These are some of the top affordable cities for international students. Here we are, top affordable universities in Australia we talk about. So starting with University of Wollongong, University of Newcastle, these are top 200 institutions in the world. Charles Darwin University, based in Darwin. CQ University, which is called as Central Queensland University. Murdoch University, which is based in Perth, University of Sunshine Coast, based in the city of Sunshine Coast, EIT, which is a private institute based in Perth and Melbourne, ICMS, which is based in Sydney. These are quite a few affordable institutions, including universities and a few private colleges. Talking about University of Wollongong, name is Wollongong. Tuition fee will range between $30,000 to $35,000 a year. Scholarship offered would be 15 to 30% on the yearly tuition fees. And the post-study work visa, like I told you, because it is a regional university, it offers longer duration of post-study work visa. UG courses, 3 years UG courses, student will be eligible for up to 3 years of PSW. And for PG courses, which are of 2 years, student will be eligible for 4 years of PSW. University of Newcastle. Again, it is one of the top 200 universities in the world. It is based in the city of Newcastle, which is approximately 1.5 hours away from Sydney by road. Tuition fee will range between $30,000 to $35,000 again. Scholarship is approved 20%, and the same post-study work visa as that of University of Wollongong. Charles Darwin University, which is based in Darwin, the capital of Northern Territory. Tuition fee will range between $25,000 to $30,000 a year. Offering scholarship up to 25%. So even if you see 30%, $30,000 as the yearly tuition fees, on which 25% scholarship, the cost to study at Charles Darwin University is significantly lower. Post-study work visa, for UG courses it is up to 3 years, for PG courses it is up to 4 years. CQ University, it has multiple campuses. It has campuses in Sydney, Melbourne, and in regional cities like Perth or Rockhampton as well. Tuition fee ranges between $27,000 to $30,000 a year. Scholarship provided is up to 25%. Out of all the campuses of CQ, regional, out of all the campuses of CQ based in regional cities, this is the post-study work visa duration. UG will have again 3 years and PG will have 4 years. Murdoch University, another good rank institution based in the city of Perth, which is also affordable. The tuition fee ranges between $27,000 to $32,000 a year, with scholarship up to 25%, offering the same post-study work visa. University of Sunshine Coast, tuition fee ranges between $25,000 to $30,000. Scholarship is up to 20%, and the same post-study work visa for undergrad 3 years, up to 3 years, for postgrad up to 4 years. This is the living cost comparison between all the major cities of Australia and all some of the regional cities of Australia: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Canberra, and Hobart. Accommodation in Melbourne will be around 150 to 300, compared with Adelaide, which is 135 to, and it depends. The upper limit depends on the lifestyle of the student. So the weekly accommodation cost for Adelaide can be as low as $135. Compared to Sydney, Melbourne, or these major cities, it is significantly lower. Similar comparison for transportation, food, and entertainment. Entertainment is completely up to the student's lifestyle, but minimum $50 you can assume with a decent lifestyle that the student can spend on entertainment, which includes eating outside as well. Yeah, so KC support in that is provided to our partners when it comes to Australia, end-to-end application support starting from shortlisting to visa and SOP guidance. We also we are responsible for lodging the student visas. You just need to provide the documents. So starting from shortlisting to filing the visas, everything is done by KC's team only. You just have to provide all the required documents as per the university's requirement or as per the DHA's requirement. We do have a few of our requirements as well, which are important to fill the university's application form and to make sure that the student is meeting all the GS conditions with respect to the annual income part as well. Education loan from ELAND and accommodation assistance as well. Any city of Australia, you can find an accommodation option from our accommodation team. So starting from application till the student lands in Australia, KC is there to support you at every stage. Yeah. So that was the presentation for affordable universities and colleges in Australia. Please first saw what affordability in terms of Australian institutions mean. A tuition fee which ranges between $25,000 to $35,000. Living expenses, which will be around minimum, if you see, around $22,000 yearly would be what can be considered as affordable. Apart from these universities which may provide good scholarship, there can be instances where a university is based in major city or can have higher tuition fee, but with the scholarships that they offer, the cost can be almost same as that of universities that provide which are quite affordable. So just to give you an example, Deakin University, the tuition fee is around $40,000, considering 25% scholarship which they offer to international students who have 75% and above. The cost to study at Deakin University comes down to $30,000, which is quite economical for an international student. So I'm really sorry for my voice. I don't know what's happening. With this, I end my presentation. The floor is open to question answers. If you have any questions with respect to the presentation or any other details as well, please put it up in the question answer section. I'll be happy to cover them one by one.
But I've added some important updates, industry updates, which were not available with me back in November. So these updates are also very important for all of us to understand. People who have been recruiting students in Australia for a long time will agree with me that Australian student recruitments is a very dynamic space, and we have updates coming through very quick, very fast. So there have been, a lot of updates, a lot of things that have happened in the last 3 or 4 months. Looking at the February 2026 intake. So we all know that India was elevated to assessment level 2, and then there was a unfortunately, spike in visa refusals, and then India was downgraded back to assessment level 3. And currently, there have been some delays that we've been experiencing. So I shall share what has been the experience of KC Overseas Education as far as February 2026 intake is concerned, and how we should plan our cases for the next intake, that is July 2026. So we're going to discuss visa trends. What is the conversion ratio at the moment for KC Overseas strictly, and what is the time that we're experiencing, visa time, turnaround time that we are experiencing. Then we'll get back to the basics, list of sponsors, because this discussion is all about GS assessment. We'll talk about the income documents, and we'll discuss some latest updates that have come from our partner universities. Some common challenges and recommendations for you people. Then we will also have a look at the financial documents and latest updates again from some of our partner universities. Some general observations, my personal experiences looking at the visa outcomes of Feb 2026 intake, and then we will move to the Q&A section. All right, so these are some important visa trends that I would like to share with you all. So as of now, as on 30th of February 2026, we are nearing the conclusion of February intake. A total of 70% of our students have already received their visa outcomes. By outcome, I mean could be a visa grant or could be a visa rejection. So 22% students are still waiting for their outcomes. Co-start dates of a lot of universities are yet to start. I mean, they're yet to begin. So I'm really looking forward to at least 90% of students of KC Overseas seeing their visa outcomes for this intake, so that we can keep the deferrals to their minimum. Talking about the visa acceptance so far, it stands at 86.46%, which means almost 87 students out of every 100 students of KC Overseas who had lost their visas for this intake have successfully received their visas. And the visa refusal ratio currently stands at 13.5%. Well, if you look at the performance of KC Overseas for the last year, this is something I've shared with you people previously, but I would like to reiterate our visa success over the last 3 intakes. February 2025 intake, our visa success ratio was 97%. July 2025 intake, our visa success ratio was 99%. So compared to that, definitely the visa success has dropped. However, the silver lining or the bright side to these statistics is that some of you might be aware that visa success of the market, I'm talking about India as a whole, is in the 60s. For the month of December 2025, based on the website of the Department of Home Affairs that I checked, visa success of Australia from the market of India stands at 69.5%. KC, on the other hand, is at 86 almost 5%. So our visa success is almost 16-17, and that is possible only and only because of our strict, I will not say necessarily strict, but because of the way we lodge our visas and because of the impeccable support that we have been receiving from you people. So yes, we ask for a little bit of more documents as compared to the other agents, but it shows in our visa acceptance rate or visa conversion rates. This has been a very consistent thing for KC Overseas, that our visa acceptance or visa conversion ratios have always been a minimum of 10 to 15% higher than that of the market. The reason being that is the expertise that we have gained over these years, the expertise that helps us in lodging visas the right way, choosing the right profiles, of course, and lodging visas the right way, attaching the right set of documents, presenting visa files to the High Commission in a very positive, in a very proper, appropriate manner. And like I said, because of the support that we receive from our close partners like you, who understand the reasons behind the documentation that we ask and support us by submitting those documents. Anyway, now let's have a look at the turnaround time. So roughly 13.69%, roughly 14% of our students have received their visas within a week. 1 to 2 weeks, 12 to 5% of our students have received their visas within 1 to 2 weeks. 23.92, that is almost 24% of our students, that is approximately 1/4 of our students for this intake have received their visas within 2 to 3 weeks. So the largest cohort of students who have received their visas fall in the bracket of 2 to 3 weeks. 13.56%, 3 to 4 weeks. 19.36%, 4 to 5 weeks. 10.11%, 5 to 6 weeks. And then the proportion gradually goes on decreasing. So We have only 3.5% of our students who had to wait as long as 6 to 7 weeks, and 1.85% of our students who had to wait as long as 7 to 8 weeks for the visas to be granted. And minuscule number of students, very few students, had to wait or are still waiting for the visa outcomes for more than 8 weeks. So this has been the general turnaround time. So I can say that possibility of our students getting visas is the highest if their visas are lodged roughly 6 weeks before the course start date. As you can see, based on the statistics on the screen, that majority of the visa outcomes were declared within 6 weeks. 8 weeks is what I'll say is safe, but practically speaking, 6 weeks should be enough. So these statistics will help you people understand how we are going to lodge our visas or how we should plan lodging our visas for February 2026 intake. That was a little bit of an information around the visa statistics for the ongoing intake. I'll be more than happy to share, my experience of this entire intake, because by the time I deliver my next webinar in the next month, February intake will have effectively concluded. So I can let you know how many of the people received their visas, how many of the cases were deferred to the next intake, and what was our visa success ratio overall. The statistics, again, I'm sharing only and only to help you people understand the market trends better. Well, KC Overseas recruits students from all over India. So the statistics that I share with you are a smaller representation of what is happening on a pan-India level, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So these statistics will help you plan your future intakes better. Getting back to the basics, let us focus on the GS assessment. So like I said that there will be a few basic details that I'm going to share, but I'll also be sharing some the latest updates that have come through from the industry, from our partner universities. Excuse me. So sponsors, who can sponsor a student? The list is there on your screen. Parents can sponsor 100%, and they are considered as ideal sponsors usually. Siblings, 50% sponsorship is safe. 50% should come from parents. Grandparents, again, 50% sponsorship is all right. Remaining 50% should come from parents. And what about close blood relatives such as uncle or aunt? Even they are accepted, provided the quantum of their sponsorship or proportion of their sponsorship is not exceeding 1/4 of the total sponsorship. So roughly 25 to 30% is what is accepted. In rare cases, we can try and experiment, take a little bit of a risk and stretch it up to 50%, but that should not be a practice. Majority of sponsorship should ideally come from parents. Let's have a look at income documents and what are the expectations of the Australian universities and the Australian High Commission or the Department of Home Affairs or the DHA as we call it. Not a lot has changed in the last few months, so basics remain the same. Basics are ITRs should be filed in consecutive years with income evidences. So by consecutive years, I mean in successive financial years, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, and so on and so forth. Single parents' income should be 12 lakhs or higher, and combined income of parents amounting to rupees 12 lakhs or higher is also accepted in Australia. So if father already sponsoring and his income is exceeding 12 lakhs, well and good. If father's income is around 7 to 8 lakhs, mother is chipping in with her income of 5 to 6 lakhs in such a way that the combined income of parents is crossing the threshold of 12 lakhs, well and good. A few more instances, few more examples. Mother is a homemaker, father is sponsoring, then you can add additional sponsors such as uncle or grandparents or siblings. So again, going back to this one. So father is sponsoring, his income is around 7 to 8 lakhs. Please add other sponsors such as siblings or grandparents in such a way that the income the combined income crosses the threshold of 12 lakhs. We also received some rare cases wherein one of the parents is deceased. Then even in such instances, additional sponsors can be added. But please bear in mind that the total number of sponsors should not be more than 2, in such a way that annual income of 2 sponsors should be 12 lakhs or higher. If you want to make the case stronger by adding in a third sponsor, well and good. Let's take an example. Father's income is 8 lakhs, mother's income is 5 lakhs. They are already crossing the threshold of 12 lakhs in this case. But student's sister or elder brother, for that matter, is working in an MNC and is drawing a good salary of 7 to 8 lakhs. You want to add them as a sponsor? No problem, you can add them. But please remember the thumb rule. Income of any two sponsors should cross 12 lakhs. Not acceptable ITRs. Let me just have a look at the Q&A section. Okay, so my voice is clearly audible. Perfect. So non-acceptable ITRs filed in the same year without appropriate income evidence. Yes, I receive these cases on a regular basis. See, the challenge that we face in Australia is that we have to, meet expectations of universities, and universities do not accept ITRs which are filed in the same year in most of the cases. There are a few exceptions. There are a few universities which might still accept ITRs filed in the same year, but like I said, those are rare cases. In a majority of cases, ITRs filed in the same year usually are not accepted in Australia. Excuse me, unless and until an appropriate income evidence is available. Let me take an example. Applicant's father is a government employee. He has been working for the last, let's say, 10, 12, 15 years as with the government, central, state, doesn't matter. He has been drawing a good salary. He has been receiving Form 16 for successive years, which is the reason he never bothered filing ITRs. That's perfectly fine, because if in this case, although ITRs are not accepted or ITRs are not available, but since the applicant's father can demonstrate his Form 16 for the last 3-4 years, then we can always request him to file ITRs on the same date for the last 2 or 3 years. Such cases are accepted by Australia because income evidence is available. Annual income of parents is below 12 lakhs. No, not recommended for Australia, because we'll be putting, visa file of a student at risk. Let us avoid such cases, or let us instead encourage parents in such a scenario to wait until July 26 intake, because after the next month, after the month of March 2026, the next financial year is going to start. And as soon as the window opens, they can file ITRs with higher incomes, which will exceed the threshold of 12 lakhs. In such a case, you can encourage the student and their sponsors to focus on July 2026 intake. ITRs with dairy income, stitching income, tuition income, boutique income, beauty parlor income, unfortunately, these are not accepted in Australia. These ITRs or these incomes have been misused, have been overused, in fact, abused as well in the last several years. So my humble suggestion and a strong recommendation, please avoid cases wherein parents have these kind of incomes. Such cases, the possibility is very low in Australia. Family is entirely relying on agricultural income without adequate income evidences. I'll talk about agricultural income in detail in slides to come, but please bear in mind that ITRs filed on the basis of agricultural income are accepted in Australia, provided there are adequate sources available. What are those sources? We'll talk about that in slides to come. Only grandparents or uncles or siblings are showing their ITRs instead of parents. So parents are there. Let's say they are retired, or let's say their incomes are less, and uncle says that no, my income is, let's say, 50 lakhs and I want to sponsor my nephew or niece. Unfortunately, that's not accepted in Australia. If parents are there, then they'll have to sponsor, and their ITRs should be strong. ITRs of other relatives can be accepted for 100% sponsorship if both set of parents are deceased. We have come across such cases. A case which I recently came across for the ongoing Feb 26 intake, wherein the applicant's parents passed away long ago when he was a child, and he was practically raised by his uncle. And uncle had good income in the range of 40 or 50 lakhs, I guess. So we accepted this case. We took it forward because though uncle had not formally adopted his nephew, but there were evidences that the nephew was living with his uncle since his childhood, and he had been paying his tuition fees and all. Income sources or proofs for Indian nationals. So ITRs alone are not enough. ITRs for the last 2 to 3 years are asked for by Australia, no doubt about it. But on the top of that, or in addition to ITRs, income proofs are also accepted. So what are those income proofs? Let's have a look. If the applicant's sponsors are businessmen, then the Australian universities will expect evidences such as a GST registration certificate or a valid business registration document. Preferably it should be old, at least 1 to 2 years old. A recent one might not be accepted. Alternatively, even if a current account statement is available, well and good. What is not accepted in terms of business proof? Photographs alone, or recently made MSME certificates, or shop license or labor license type of certificates. these do not hold any value in Australia if they are recently made. Salary incomes, if parents or sponsors are salaried, then salary account statement for the last 6 to 12 months, or Form 16 and salary slips. Any two of these three will suffice the purpose. Let me repeat what I just said. ITRs are mandatory, but in addition to ITRs, income proofs are also mandatory in Australia. Now let's talk about a few updates. So like I showed you towards the beginning of the presentation, that I'm also going to share some of the latest updates as we have received from our partner universities. So Deakin University shared some guidelines with us last month, and I would like to share those guidelines with you now. So their basics remain the same. Parents' income should be 12 lakhs, but a minimum of 8 lakhs should come from any of one of the sponsors. That's mandatory for Deakin University. So if we are trying to push up a case wherein the father's income is 6.5, mother's income is 6.5, Deakin is not going to accept such cases. They're going to ask for a minimum income of 8 lakhs for either mother or father, and the balance income of 5 lakhs, 4 to 5 lakhs can be of the other sponsor. If the applicant sponsors are businessmen, then they will ask for the audit report or ITRs for the last year. Business registration proof should be at least 2 to 3 years old. Current account statement should be at least 1 year old. So in short, they are expecting or looking forward to robust business documents, not those made up documents just for the sake of it. Agricultural based income. Yes, Deakin will also ask agricultural based income, provided even in such case they want ITRs which are timely filed, which means ITRs for the last 3 years filed in consecutive years, verifiable J forms or verifiable crop sale receipts as we call them, because J forms are popular in the north of India, but in Gujarat or towards AP, Telangana and in Kerala, which are the major agricultural belts in India, the nomenclature might be different. So by J forms, I mean crop sale receipts. So crop sale receipts should be provided, should be verifiable. Agricultural land certificate should be available, and land ownership documents should also be available. So yes, if all these evidences are available, then Deakin will be happy to accept agriculture-based incomes. Small-scale businesses are acceptable with historical and strong supporting documents. Now, this is a vague statement, but like I explained a few minutes ago, that business registration documents should be old enough. Current account statement should be there, or there has to be some robust proof wherein we can prove that the applicant's sponsors are actually involved in that business. In such instances, will be easy to convince Deakin University. The other update has come from one of our latest represented universities, Bond University. We'll be very soon conducting a session for our partners as well. So Bond University, their sponsors income, they're happy with 12 lakhs, but for some risk regions, they're expecting the income to be in the range of 15 lakhs as well. Some latest updates from Charles Darwin University. So they have divided risk regions into these: Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, and rest of India. So for the 4 states of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Jammu and Kashmir, their expectations are incomes of sponsors should be $30,000, which according to the current currency conversion rate is in the range of 90 to 20 lakhs. I've considered the higher end of 20 lakhs. So please be mindful of this. For Charles Darwin University, they're happy to accept students from Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Jammu and Kashmir, provided annual income of sponsors is not 12 lakhs but 20 lakhs. Freshly filed ITRs will not be accepted. No incomes accepted from general stores, boutiques, gift shops, sweet shops, specialty shops, and related business types. Similar to the businesses that I told you previously, such as tailoring business and all. So small-time businesses, Charles Darwin University will not accept such cases. No recent or MSME business registration. A lot of times I come across this query, that is Australia or are Australian universities accepting MSME? Well, the answer is yes and no both. No if the MSME registration is new. Yes if the MSME or business registration is old enough. So as you can see on the screen, CDU will accept such cases if the MSME was done, or MSME registration was done 2 years ago. MSME registration is the easiest registration that can be done. So in the last 2-3 years, thousands and thousands of students have lodged their visa files with MSME certificate as an evidence. Unfortunately, not all of them were able to receive their visas, because MSME, the Department of Home Affairs does not consider MSME as a strong business registration certificate. So my humble suggestion would be to avoid it as far as possible. But if there is no other proof available, then make sure that the MSME is at least 2 years old. CA wealth report, that CA certificate is mandatory. That's not a new thing. That's probably asked for by all universities. Charles Darwin University will accept a maximum of 50% agricultural income for students from these states. 100% agricultural income will not be accepted. For the rest of India, the requirements are slightly more lenient. Income of sponsors, rupees 20, I'm sorry, Australian dollars, which is roughly equivalent to 30 lakh rupees. ITRs for the last 2 years, then the requirements are, the same. So 2 years of ITRs, income certificate for agricultural incomes issued by the state government. The exception or the difference is for the rest of India, 100% agricultural income will be accepted by them. Charles, CA statement or CA report or net worth certificate, as we call it, will be accepted, but UDIN number is mandatory. See, there can be a lot of discussion around each of these requirements, and I understand that some of you might not be able to understand what I'm trying to say, because this is more of an advanced version of my previous presentation. Totally understand, especially if you're new to Australia. If you're not able to understand any of this part of my presentation, please feel free to reach out to me or to my team. You have those contact details with you. In fact, towards the end of the presentation, I will also share my contact details with you all. Please feel free to reach out. Happy to have a detailed discussion with you and explain to you all these requirements, university specific and general requirements as well. Okay, moving on to the next one. Just give me a moment. Yeah, common challenges and recommendations. So common challenges that we have been facing when it comes to ITRs is ITRs filed on the same date. We have discussed that already. Low incomes of sponsors, again discussed already. Unavailability of income sources. These kind of cases, quite unfortunately, may not or will not get through in Australia, which is why it's very important that you make sure that all these documents are available with the student right at the counseling stage. Recommendations based on our recent experiences. Please follow ITR guidelines closely and strictly. ITRs should be checked while counseling students, the point that I just mentioned, before submitting their applications. In fact, I think we are probably the only major education agency on a pan-India level which is checking ITRs at the application stage. Please be advised that we are not asking for ITRs at the application stage to block the applications. No, that's not what we want. We want business. We want to recruit as many students as possible to help you grow your businesses. The reason we ask for ITRs is to check the paying capacity and to assess the case better. Because if ITRs are not filed the right way, we can reach out to you. My team will reach out to you and will let you know how to file them properly, so that we can structure the case properly, so that the case does not get stuck or get rejected at the GS assessment stage. Please be mindful of income requirements and expectations of Australian universities. Very important. For students availing unsecured loans, incomes are closely observed, and thus we recommend combined incomes of 15 lakhs or more for unsecured loans. In fact, I have dedicated one whole section, one slide for discussion on unsecured loans. We'll get there soon. Now that we have discussed the income part, let us talk about financial documents. Let me just have a quick look at the Q&A section. Yeah, I can see some questions, but no complaints as far as my voice is concerned. Good to know that you can hear me clearly. Moving on to financial documents. Basics, education loans. I'm sorry, the thumb rule. Thumb rule in Australia is anything and everything that's available in a bank is accepted. Let me repeat. Anything and everything, any type of a fund that's available in a bank is accepted in Australia. So what about NBFCs? What about PFs? What about KVP, that is Kisan Vikas Patra? What about NSC, that's National Savings Scheme? What about other methods, other modes of other financial instruments? Quite unfortunately, no other financial instruments will be accepted in Australia. Funds should and must be available in an acceptable financial institution, which is a bank. What banks are accepted in Australia? Simple, easy to remember. All nationalized banks, all private sector banks, and international banks such as HSBC and all, they are also accepted in Australia. What about cooperative banks? No, they are not acceptable. What about Grameen banks? Now, that's a gray area. Some universities do accept Grameen banks, some of them don't. My humble suggestion, if funds are available in a Grameen bank, let's get them transferred to an acceptable bank. or a nationalized bank for that matter. So education loans are accepted in Australia. Savings should be 6 to 12 months old. Fixed deposits again should be 6 to 12 months old. And public provident fund PPF will be accepted with withdrawing limit. Some people get confused between PPF and EPF or GPF. I'll give you a very brief explanation. EPF stands for Employee Provident Fund, which is deducted from private employees like me. GPF stands for General Provident Fund, which is deducted from government employees. PPF is Public Provident Fund. There is no deduction. Any person above the 18 years of age can start putting funds into the PPF account. It's a nice method of investment. Most of you might be aware of it. I believe the limit is 1.5 lakhs per year, and you get tax benefit on that. So PPF will be accepted with withdrawing limits. Let's talk about the education loans now in detail. So education loans should preferably be availed from a nationalized or private sector banking institution. They should be fully sanctioned. In principle, or conditional loan letters are not accepted in Australia. I'm sorry, I should have shared a sample with you, but I'll be more than happy to share a sample as well if you want. Just make sure, talk to the student and to the bank authorities if you have a direct tap with those banks, that the loan should not be in principle or conditional. They should be fully sanctioned. Loans from Credit are accepted, preferably secured ones. Some universities are happy to accept unsecured loans from Credit as well. Loans from other NBFCs. NBFC stands for non-banking financial institution. So loans from other NBFCs such as Avance should be avoided. Of the list of universities that we represent, let me be very honest and transparent with you. There are two universities. Which accept loans from Avance. The first one is University of Newcastle. The second one is La Trobe University. But KC Overseas, based on our recent trends, visa trends, we have proactively or voluntarily decided to accept loans only from Credila if it's an NBFC, and we are trying to avoid loans from all other NBFCs such as Avance, Tata Capital, Prodigy, Poonawalla Finance, Incred, Auxilo, or there are many NBFCs in the market. The credit system has gotten much easier. Please try to avoid loans from these NBFCs. As far as KC is concerned, quite unfortunately, we will not be able to accept. Credila, yes, we'll be happy to accept Credila because see, try to understand the difference, dear attendees. Credila was earlier a subsidiary, a sister concern of HDFC Bank. I'm sorry. So they always used to call it HDFC Credila. So the Department of Home Affairs is familiar with the name of Credila. That's why they trust Credila more, even if it's an NBFC, even though it has now gotten separated from HDFC. But the other NBFCs never had any backing from any credible financial institution, credible banking institution. That's why the DHA doesn't trust them. That's why we should also try to avoid them as far as possible. If you want to promote them for other countries, please feel free to do it. Let us avoid them in Australia. Students must not rely only on education loans. So this is another challenge that we face, that students, to meet the show fund requirement of 40-45 lakhs or 50-55 lakhs, it's a group of 8, they focus on education loans alone, which is not a smart strategy in Australia. Students should have access to a minimum of 10 to 15 lakh rupees in liquid funds, could be savings or could be fixed deposits, which are a minimum of 3 to 6 months old, preferably 6 months old. Please do not rely only on education loans, because the DHA expects and the universities also expect that you should have liquid funds available for your living expenses. So let us face the fact, we all know that education loans are meant for paying the tuition fee, not for paying living expenses. So let us differentiate it clearly. Education loans for paying the tuition fee deposit, for tuition fee alone strictly, and living expenses of 10 to 15 lakhs, 3 to 6 months old for living expenses. That is the right way of structuring of a case financially for a quick GS approval. Sponsors availing unsecured loans should have good incomes. That's really important. Again, let me inform you the reason behind it. Unsecured loans usually come with a higher interest rate. So why would someone go for a loan with a higher interest rate? Or how can they afford to pay off the interest of an unsecured loan? And for that, universities expect, and the DHA also expects. When I use the word expect, please be mindful that I'm not making it a mandatory condition. Unsecured loan plus 12 lakhs of income is not a bad combination. Not an ideal one, but not a bad one. But if it's an unsecured loan, then let us try to aim for higher incomes. 14 to 15 lakhs will make the case secured, safer. Collateral property should belong to parents. Now that is again very important part. Many times we come across partners and students submit loans to us, and in those loans, collateral property belongs to uncle or aunt or grandparents. Not accepted in Australia, quite unfortunately. Collateral property should belong to parents, or simply go for an unsecured loan. That's better. But if it's a collateral loan, property or even fixed deposit for that matter, should belong to parents. Savings account statements and fixed deposits, as I said earlier, they should be preferably 6 to 12 months old. If there is any major transaction of rupees 1 lakh or more in the savings account statement, then please provide an evidence as to where those funds have come from. Universities will ask for that. Balance should be a minimum of 10 to 15 lakhs if it is coming with a loan. Please provide balance confirmation certificate for FDs and email IDs for verification. So these are some miscellaneous requirements. Let's move on. Yes, coming to an important part of the presentation, loans from Credila. Please prefer a secured loan over an unsecured ones. I will not say that again it's an absolute mandate, but this is just my observation based on the recent visa trends. Possibility of a visa grant is higher for students going for a secured loan over an unsecured loan. Doesn't matter whether it is Credila or SBI or IDFC or Axis Bank or Yes Bank or any other bank for that matter. Please recommend your students to prefer a secured loan as far as possible over an unsecured loan. Unsecured loan should be availed only and only if secured loan is not at all possible. Please get the entire loan amount disbursed in. Let me repeat this point that Credila is an NBFC, non-banking financial institution, which means funds which are available or locked in a Credila loan are not accepted by the Australian High Commission, Department of Home Affairs or universities, which is why it is an absolute mandate that loan should be fully disbursed and that loan should be available in a savings account. Usually, not usually, all the time, Credila loans are disbursed in HSBC's account, and HSBC is an acceptable financial institution. So that's why full loan disbursements of Credila is mandatory. Excuse me. Please do not rely entirely on education loans. We have discussed that already. Please avoid availing loans of large amounts, that's more than 50 lakhs. Why? I'll share that in slides to come. Yeah, these parts we have already covered. Yeah, now let's talk about the updates. Updates from Deakin University, Grameen banks and Finacle statements are not acceptable. So Finacle is a software. Let's not use that software. It has to be a proper print of statements. And as far as possible, the statement should be stamped and signed by the authority. Funds should be at least 6 months old. 3-month-old funds will not be accepted by Deakin. Savings are mandatory for non-collateral loan cases, otherwise full disbursement is required. Now, this is an important part, an important point of discussion. Let's read it. Let me read it one more time. Savings are mandatory for non-collateral cases. So, if it's a non-collateral loan and bank says that we are not ready for full disbursement. If it's a loan worth 40 lakhs, bank says we will only pay 1 semester tuition fee deposit. Deakin will say fine, we'll be happy to accept, provided savings worth rupees 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs are available. Otherwise, get the loan fully disbursed. Please remember this condition. Grandparents, uncle, aunt, real siblings, term of sponsorship should not be more than 25% of the funding. We have discussed that already towards the beginning of the presentation. Charles Darwin University. So again, they have divided their GS assessment depending on the regions. For Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, Credila loans will not be accepted, but for the rest of India, Credila loans will be accepted. See, that's why it is very important that while we counsel the students, we have a very good understanding of GS expectations of those universities. Let's say your office is based out of Jammu and Kashmir or Rajasthan for that matter, and your office, your organization, your company is in a direct agreement or represent Credila. Then if you are not aware that CDU is not accepting a loan from Credila, you might inadvertently, unknowingly ask the student to go for a loan. He might avail a loan from Credila, might pay those processing charges, might waste his 1.5 months, only to realize later that CDU is not accepting Credila loans. Yeah. So I was about to discuss that, and I will discuss that in detail in slides to come. But please be mindful of every requirement, GS expectation of Australian universities, so that Cases should not get stuck at the GS assessment stage. Yes, now these are some general observations. Dear attendees, please pay close attention. These general observations I have prepared based on my and my team's latest experiences of our visa conversions and rejections over the last couple of months, December and January to be specific. Point number one, very important, there is a higher possibility of a visa refusal for students availing an education loan in the excess of rupees 50 lakhs. That's a little odd, to be honest with you, because students who usually go to Australia for a bachelor's degree, to higher end universities where the tuition fee is higher, their project cost is high, which is why banks are ready to issue loans in the amount which is more than 50 lakhs. I've seen banks issuing loans in the range of 60, 70 or even 80 lakhs. I've seen banks ready to issue loans of more than 1 crores if the property valuation is that high. So banks don't have a problem with that. Banks do it. The Department of Home Affairs, I don't know for what reason, seems to have a problem with that. I don't have evidence or there is no official statement from any university, but this is purely based on my experience that we have seen some visa refusals, and the common thread that I've observed was that the loans were in the excess of 50 lakhs, although the overall profile was good. So humble suggestion, a strong recommendation to you all, going forward, please try to avoid loans in the excess of 50 lakh rupees. Let us keep 50 lakh as the absolute limit cap. Loans beyond that may, result in a visa refusal for your students. Next, universities have started asking for full disbursement of unsecured education loans. Please prefer secured loans. So going back to the original discussion, secured loans are better. Unsecured loans should be the last resort. If unsecured loan is the only option, please inform the student